This SUV here will be one of the most important SUVs in the years to come. It is the Toyota Corolla Cross. Here was Thomas, an Autogefühl for you. Well, the name Corolla stands for itself. The normal compact car, the Toyota Corolla, the most sold vehicle overall worldwide, over 50 million times, and they want to continue this success story with this compact SUV. That's why the naming then Toyota Corolla Cross, and also fitting to that segment. They want to sell over 400,000 pieces a year with that one here. And it's very interesting because already internally in the Toyota brand, it sits between the CHR and the RAV4 size-wise. And there's also the new very small brother, the Toyota Yaris Cross. We also have both of these vehicles here in the yellow or golden car, the Yaris Cross, and then the new Corolla Cross next to it. And they differ quite a lot in size. I will also tell you soon more about that. But let's start here with the front. A very bold front. It's kind of like a baby RAV4 already from the looks. It looks really strong for this compact SUV segment. I think Toyota recently had, especially when I think about the CHR for example, they had some design methods where maybe weren't that ideal. But this one looks amazing and really bold, doesn't it? This color is called, how's it called again, Brian?
Cement.
Cement, right? They really call it cement. Porsche calls it chalk white or chalk gray, and Toyota calls it cement. Thanks, Brian. Brian's behind the camera today. And he'll also give you a segment later about the British perspective and the perspective of a family father of this vehicle. But now let's continue with my German perspective. And I say, like, design-wise, is really great. One of the best looking compact SUVs right now. So the cement gray color, especially fitting to the vehicle, bold front grille, and also the headlamps in a very modern form, daytime running light. I think they really nailed it here design-wise. Contrasting black right here. What do you think? The length here of the Toyota Corolla Cross is 4.46 meters or 176 inches. And that is particularly interesting indeed because it sits also between a lot of the competitors. It is longer than the Honda HR-V, a Mazda CX-30, a Volkswagen T-Roc, and it's a little bit shorter than the Mazda CX-5 or the VW Tiguan or the Honda CR-V. And this position in between makes it kind of ready to attack all of the competitors at the same time. Very interesting proposal. 17 or optional 18-inch wheels. We have the bigger ones right here. Then we have these crossover wheel arches, kind of like trapeze or trapezoid style. Once again, I think very bold statement for a compact SUV. Also here with the contrasting cladding. And then we have the interesting, very premium-like touch with the Corolla Cross lettering here. So this looks off-roadish, right? I mean, we also have some soft off-roading in our driving part today. In the rear, also a very consistent design, horizontal, these tail lamps here, and not much playing around. Once again, bold statement, contrasting colors, but not too much, and also no fake exhaust whatsoever. I think this is really a good example of how to design a modern SUV. It goes, by the way, top speed 180 kilometers an hour or 112 miles an hour. Key fob is very light and simple, does the job, defo. And then the doors here with door closing sound, let's see. Well, that doesn't sound good at all. Well, that's one catch, but what about the interior? Well, here at the inside of the doors, that's soft touch and it looks nice. It has kind of like a leather surface, I would say, but it is not leather, but not animal leather. So like a leatherette kind of surface, but it looks really high class indeed. And also here the door handle from the inside. So this is a step up the game by Toyota. Some space at the inside of the doors here as well. And then this interior, it does remind us of some other models, of course. And here the steering wheel with real buttons still. That's good to have, that you can real click on that thing. Everything resonates very well with that quality here. This is hard pick here at the left side. This as well, but this one also here too. But it looks actually quite nice with that kind of stamped in surface structure. That's cool. The seats, you either get base fabric seats, in black, or in US also in the bright style. Higher trims come with Softex high-grade leatherette on the American market. However, in the European market, Toyota still sells these here containing animal parts. Seating position is actually really good. It's very comfortable from the seats. They are not too too much caging you in, yet at the same they do offer you side support. They're quite sporty actually, but not too sporty, so I think they found a great seating. Really good ergonomics from the seats. The position here, you can put the steering wheel in and out, up and down, so you can find a very good driving position. It already feels like a grown-up SUV indeed, without being too big for some purposes, like a RAV4 or a VW Tiguan or something. The Tiguan Allspace, of course, is a little bit longer. That would be the base Tiguan in the US. So yeah, I think this is a very nice feeling and good, in between segment they found here between the CHR and the RAV4 for them. Headroom here with 189 or 602. Yeah, plenty of headroom left, no problem at all. Base would be 7-inch screen with analog gauges. These here are the optional 12.3-inch full digital instruments, and they also have nice visualizations for the driving mode, like here the power mode, the eco mode, or the normal mode, which rather has to do with throttle input, for example. And you always have a nice digital speedometer right there, so it does the job. And of course the consumption, that one went up when we're going uphill and off-roading. You can score better consumption figures, like 5 liters on 1 kilometers on motorway driving, 1 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour. That would be like 47 mpg US, 56 mpg UK, and even better actually when you had a little bit less fast driving and make more use of that hybrid drivetrain. The dashboard here in the lower area has a nice leatherette texture and also has some kind of soft touch top. That's really nice. And also here, the glove box is dampened. That's nice actually, quality wise. And then, well, just when shutting it, it makes a typical noise, but I can live with that. Then here, this middle console right there, this is the automatic shifting lever. You also have the drive mode buttons here, and the electric parking brake, and the cup holders, they are a little bit open. They are not adaptive, and I don't like the high gloss black panel lacquer here. And the this one here is not that well attached though, but you have some more space underneath. Here's an area I do appreciate. These buttons here, here for seat heating, high and low, heated steering wheel, they look kind of old school, but in a way or in a world where everything is now digitalized, this resonates very well. It has to have it really has a nice clicking sound, and it gives kind of like tough feeling to the vehicle. That's funny. USB-A chargers here in the front, but also inductive charging pad, and USB-C chargers will be in the back. Infotainment system, you would start with an 8-inch one in the US, but already features Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless. And this one here is the bigger 10.25-inch, so just bigger in the screen than here. And actually it does have a GPS you can use. It's maybe not as good as Google Maps or Apple Maps, but the first time we were in a Toyota, and I also saw the shuttle drivers using the Toyota internal GPS. So that speaks for it indeed. So, and then the base system here, I deactivate this beeping sound because it drives you nuts, by the way. It doesn't have too much things, but most of the time you will use it for the smartphone mirroring anyway, and that is a very nice large integration of Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So now some music. That is actually a very good sound here in that. Wow, that is amazing. Woo. I mean, this vehicle has some, in a lot of ways premium touch. And by the way, this is here another volume adjustment inside the screen, but there are also real buttons. Well, to turn something for real is the climate unit, and that is also great for the easy user interface. Vent strength is here, but to me the most important is I can actually just change the temperature slightly and easily while driving. Inside of doors, it has a structure, that's nice, but it's actually hard pack. So yeah, I used my door for that, but it looks actually quite decent. The doors do not open that wide. That might be a problem for getting child seats in and out, but you do have ISOFIX on the outside seats each, and also the nice soft touch leatherette here for the rear seats. You can also change the angle of the seats here a little bit, make them more upright or put them more behind, and the seating comfort is actually quite decent. It is not segment leading in legroom, better than the CHR, but it's getting really close when I'm driving in the front. But if the driver is a little bit smaller, it's fine, and you can use this car with 4 tall adults. That is possible indeed. So better than the CHR, The RAV4, of course, has a little bit more space. And if we take a look at the external competitors, VW T-Roc would be similar. The Tiguan is a little better, but it's also the bigger car. Honda has the best package. Already the HRV, the small one, offers great legroom in the rear in comparison to other vehicles in the segment. And the CR-V, of course, really good. So they are not segment leading here, the Toyota Corolla Cross, as for legroom, but headroom is actually totally fine. There's a lot of headroom left, and the quality here in the rear also seems fine. Cup holders are not adaptive though, but everything else feels and looks good. 2 USB-C chargers here in the lower part, by the way. Let's take a look at the trunk or the boot. Brian, you're from the UK. Is it boot at UK, right? It's boot,
That's
right?
Boot.
Yeah, boot. So that's why I always say both, trunk and or boot. And in Germany, by the way, it's Kofferraum or Gepäckraum. So Kofferraum is more like suitcase area in a direct translation. Listen and repeat, Kofferraum. That's the new German vocabulary here on Autogefühl today. Yeah, Gepäckraum would be more like loading area, and you can say both actually. 430 liters it is here, or 25 cubic feet. Let's take a detailed look. The only thing I don't like is this cover here. I mean, it doesn't have a sharp edge. That's good. So that's, no problem. But here you don't have any gap in here. So you always have to do like this to remove it. You can live with it, but it's not ideal. Here, a lot of space indeed. And these gaps here in the side, they are very well done, because you can use it here, for example, for Brian's laptop bag, or here for my backpack right there. So very well done indeed. And the minimum width here is about 90 centimeters or 35 inches. That's already good. But I mean, here then, if you use then these gaps on the inside, it's like acres of space in width. That's very well done. And here the length is about 85 centimeters or 33 inches. So that's already quite decent. And the height, I mean, there is a small loading sill step here, but that's then meaning you have 80 centimeters or 31 inches of height. That's good. You fold the seats, you can grab over from here. You do have some kind of step then here, because the suitcases are also tied together. So there is this step right here. But then again, you get the full height here. So that, by the way, underneath the cover is nothing in the hybrid version, at least here. So, and then the full length to my seat as I would be driving is about like 165 or 64 inches. Let's take a look at the engines here. So in the US market, for example, most important and the main engine is a 2-liter naturally aspirated engine with around 10 seconds in the acceleration figure. Same acceleration would have the 1.8 hybrid, all 4-cylinder engines. And then there is a 2-liter hybrid we have here today. That's the quickest one with 7.5 seconds in the acceleration figure. This one here is also available as an all-wheel drive version. Then it has an electric motor in the rear, an additional one. The hybrid system here, of course, for better fuel economy. We'll tell you more about that later on. What's interesting is when you go for these hybrid drivetrains, the 1.8 or the 1.8 or the 2-liter hybrid, they have the 5th generation hybrid now. Lithium-ion battery, less weight, more efficiency, more power. If that's all true, we'll find out in the driving part very soon. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Toyota Corolla Cross, and starting here on the motorway, about 80 kilometers an hour, so like 50 miles an hour. Wow, I mean, it behaves very, very well. So it's really silent and smooth. So Brian also, that was one of the first things he told me when he was entering the car and we were getting on the motorway and just was getting off now until I can enter again to give you something of the acceleration. It is indeed super smooth. And let's just, hit the accelerator pedal when we go uphill and go 60 to 80. Let's see how smooth that is. Well, that's it. That was almost 85. So it's quite okay, I mean, you still have this CVT-alike feeling, although it's this, e-CVT in the hybrid. So, but it's definitely less than before. So also the acceleration feels less hybrid-alike, I would say. So it indeed feels like a more premium vehicle, I would say, and definitely like a baby RAV4. You sit a little bit lower and it's not that large around you. Yeah, and also like from the things you feel, see and touch and so on. This is really a notable upgrade. Also how the infotainment works and so on. So now at 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour, and it's still reasonably silent, although the tarmac here around Barcelona is quite rough indeed and does give a lot of noise. We can also have the adaptive cruise control in this vehicle, depending on the trim level, of course. Set now to about 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour. You have different assistance systems. You also have the lane keeping assist, the active one. Now it is active. Let's see how smooth we are kept in the lane actually. See here so far, no hectic steering movements. Very smooth. There's also blind spot monitor. At the moment no one's overtaking us, but there's like a blinking then in the side mirrors. Now he already complains. Unavailable soon, take control of the steering wheel. There we go. So far. And that's also a thing with this vehicle. They get the latest generation of the assistance systems by Toyota. So latest hybrid technology and latest assistance systems. There's the blind spot monitor. When you hit the turning indicator, there's also a flashing of this warning then. And about this hybrid system, the first thing we mentioned to you, so it is more powerful now that you don't get this typical slow feeling, you know. It is still a little bit, yes, and they usually don't put the most powerful engines in these vehicles. That's not what they're best in, but it's definitely a little bit quicker than before. This one here, as the 2-liter hybrid we're driving, goes 7.5 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour or 62 miles an hour, and that is already quite okay for a car of that size and for this segment, definitely. So at the same time, they say they are more efficient, and at the end of our test drive we'll also try to confirm that. So, and that's the thing, you know, more power yet at the same time more efficiency. How do they actually gain that? A little bit of weight losses. There's lithium-ion battery now being used, and also they reduce the friction inside engine parts, and these are the measures they're trying to achieve that by. So at the moment we're about 5 liters on 1 kilometers, which is a typical Toyota hybrid consumption, and we'll see if we can also keep that up at a later stage when we drove for a little bit further. But considering this is motorway driving here now, which is not the best ideal situation for hybrid, it's more like when you have city traffic that you can make use of some recuperation, that's totally fine. You know, also inside the tunnel, which is usually quite loud, it's staying relatively silent. So I'm not sure about you, Brian, but the Toyotas I have been driving, this one seems to be the most silent one as like noise insulation. Oh, what's your take?
I'm actually kind of blown away by this car so far. It really delivers a lot more than I expected of it.
A really nice ride, also suspension-wise, you know. So we also had some rougher roads. We are now at like, you know, normal average motorway speed, and the suspension is really doing a good job. So it's smooth, but at the same time it's actually like sporty enough. We're here at the moment at 18-inch wheels, once again in that tunnel here, and they also offer 17-inch wheels for entry-level models. They're a little bit later for European market, but I think the 18 are actually quite fine. The 17 will be a softer ride, but this one is a very good compromise, you know. So, and also the feedback I have from the steering, this is really, I mean, here like some subtle movements are being transported to the road without being exaggerated. So really, really happy with the steering movement. When we soon get off the motorway, we'll also do some more winding corners that you can experience a little bit more about that.
Now that's where I'm really interested to see. That's where this car is going to prove itself or not.
Yeah,
because two things that our last driving experience on a Toyota together, do you remember, was in the hills. And
with the Igo X. Yeah,
there we found some challenges. Well, the famous distinctive Toyota whine you get when you're going up a hill, I'm really excited to see.
But always show like a short bit. It was definitely better, you know, than before. But it was just a very short hill, you know.
Until we get it on a big hill with lots of windy corners, we're really not going to get a full sense of that.
See here, like a lane change.
That's nice.
It's nice, like really smooth. Like, let's change it back.
Really nice.
It feels actually like almost kind of sporty. We also have the drive modes here. There's the power drive mode as well. Oh, that changes like eco, normal. That was the side of the road. Yeah, the power mode, but let's see if the steering changes. Power mode, eco. Nah, not really. So it's more about the throttle input, you know, that from a power mode we have more reaction in the throttle pedal. That's fast. Yeah, always the Germans, right? In the Audis. We are the non-Germans today. So like this automatic thing. I'm not sure if you're like if you're from Spain, maybe it would drive me nuts. So that is something I really appreciate about German Autobahn, the German motorways. That, I mean, we pay our taxes, and we pay a lot of taxes in Germany. At least we can use the motorways then for free. So 30 kilometers an hour. Yeah, let's bam, bam, bam. Oh, it's good suspension test. Feels quite smooth as well, right? So now 40 kilometers an hour. Let's go uphill. 60, 90. That's okay. That's really okay. I mean, it is not a super fast car. That's not how it's supposed to be.
You know what, Thomas? I'm going to say something really shocking and controversial now.
Yes.
If you blindfolded me and you blocked my ears, and that bit's important, I could almost think I was driving in a BMW.
Really?
The characteristic, the quality of the experience too. The seats are really good.
I think that might be the last time I could send Brian to a BMW event. if BMW guys are watching this.
I did say you got to lose the sound, and I think that's quite an important component of the car.
Yeah.
But the drive is really good in this car.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. And so you definitely have less of this annoying, you know, like the stretching, you know, feeling like it really feels so much more refined. So yeah, I'm really a fan of this new 5th generation powertrain of the hybrids. There will also be a natural aspirated engine for the US guys available. So basically this engine without the hybrid, that will be lower in the entry price and so on. But also this one, of course, profits a little bit from the upgrades this car is experiencing without the hybrid thing, of course. Then yeah, let's go back to the normal. I mean, the driving modes, they are nice visualized here in the cockpit, but don't play too much of a role. But also here on the motorway, we're going down a little bit. I'm in the EV mode, so at the moment the combustion engine is shut off. And then I have some more buffer boost once again when I'm going uphill now. This will play more effect, of course, in the city, because in the city, like this starting from zero, takes so much fuel usually that when you get this small EV kick, it does save a lot of fuel. But even here on the motorway, at least it does something when you have some topography changes. When you don't have that, it doesn't play such a big role actually. So yeah, that is so really, really positive impression here on the motorway. Yet, you know, both from Brian and me. The question is now, how can it perform when we go a little bit sportier in winding roads and more up and down? Let's find out. So now I'll put it once again to the power mode. Go Power Rangers. And let's see. Yeah, of course you get something of that sound, but it does disappear way quicker. Let's see, we go in these, you know, nice winding roads here now. Steering feels actually quite good. It is light, definitely. I mean, the power mode could have used some, let's say, oh, it's now a little bit off-road. That's also good for test suspension. So I think the power mode could have used some steering adjustment. That's definitely good. So that you have a little bit more feedback. But in general, I think the steering is really nice, you know. So, well, and it is a crossover SUV, so some soft off-roading can't be bad. Here's some, well, there are some bumps, but the suspension is doing a really good job still, you know. I need to drive a little bit slower here now. I mean, that can be, depending on the market, also be very relevant. And the good thing is, this is smaller than the RAV4, so this is also an advantage that when it gets narrower like this, and you have some passages. I mean, this was totally unexpected now. The GPS didn't show it. It's doing a great job. So This is the front-wheel drive version of the hybrid. There will also be the all-wheel drive version. Then you have an electric motor in the rear. So if this is relevant to you and you have more of these off-road situations, that could be something. The acceleration figure does not really differ. It's like 0.1 seconds that the all-wheel drive is quicker. But here, now uphill again, it's really excellent. So I really have to say, from the whole drivetrain, from the noise insulation, from how the car handles, I mean, leaving aside like special versions, like, you know, like a Toyota Supra or something, which has these BMW genes, you know, as a sports car. But let's say, talking normal cars or SUVs at Toyota, I think this is easily the best Toyota I have ever driven. And yeah, Brian is just nodding. So, because it does everything very, very well and smooth. It is fun, it is comfortable, it gives you almost kind of serenity, although it's not the biggest car, you know, while driving.
But it's still a Toyota.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, a lot of the time when you buy a Toyota, you have to kind of shrug your shoulders and make your peace with it and say, but at least I got a great car out of it.
Yeah.
I just have to live with it. I don't think you have to live with this at all. I think you get this
really
car and you
nice.
say, great, this is actually exactly what I want.
Yeah. Now, winding roads again, tarmac. Yeah, maybe a little bit more feedback from the steering wheel, but that's just a feeling thing. But, you know, the thing is, it is kind of precise, and it also reacts on short movements without exaggerating. So they also got a quite good steering feel here over these bumps. Even if I go over them in a little bit faster way, it doesn't, you know, crush our lower back or something. I would maybe stick with the base version of the car to get fabric seats. That these will be available in Europe, already available in the US. If you want it more breathable, you know, it's breathable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's breathable. Yeah. This just is better for a hot climate, I would say. I can just stress again, it handles very well. It doesn't shake up too much. The steering is also fine. So from the whole driving characteristic, yeah, I mean, this typical, you know, there is no gearing, you know, feeling. It is still somewhat there, but definitely less than before. So it's not a big issue then, and it's also not lacking power. I mean, we're going uphill, and it's defo not lacking power, you know. So, and yes, now the consumption went up a little, but as long as we're keeping it straight. So even Motorway is some 5 liters on 100 kilometers, and that can be less when you have some city driving only and really make use of this hybrid drivetrain. And this can be very dangerous to a lot of the competitors. And we were still debating, is it, I think it can already be compared to a Mazda CX-5, and maybe already to a VW Tiguan or a T-Roc, Honda HR-V or CR-V. It is somewhat in between, and therefore can be dangerous for all of them, I guess.
I think so too, and I think it's a really well-positioned offering, because there's definitely something within the market that says, I want a little bigger, but not that bigger. And I think Mazda have proved with the 5 just how popular that vehicle is.
Yeah.
This brings something genuinely new into that segment, and I really think you have to give it to Toyota. This to me is knocked it out of the park. The only thing, obviously, always is the fly in the ointment is, will the pricing match within the segment?
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the big difference indeed. Here in Europe, they start selling it as a high spec. In the US, you can also get a low spec, low price, or some kiddies. But also European market will get some cheaper versions later on. But yeah, you have to see if the price does match for you.
The first thing that happens when you have children is that everyone and their dog tells you you're going to need everything to be bigger, because these creatures are going to turn up and destroy your life, make mess everywhere, and take up all of your room. Well, one of those statements is true, and it's the one about the space. But you don't need to have a bus just because you've got kids. And that's the first thing I really love about this car. Yes, you need more room. No, you don't have to have a caravan towing behind you with all of their equipment in. This car is a really great compromise between still very definitely feeling like a smaller SUV, but providing you with more than enough space than you're ever going to need for your children and their friends and their equipment, provided you're good at managing yourself and your family. Now, not only that, but Toyota is an incredibly practical brand. So yes, soft plastic, hard plastic, 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 plastic. But you know what? That means it's really easy to keep, maintain and care for, and easy to clean, and that's important. But that is all about owning this vehicle as a family. Now, I just want to make sure you're clear, it's not all Toyota fanboy stuff over here. And Toyota don't get everything right. Look at this. So that's hardly a 90-degree door open. And given that your children are going to be opening and abusing this door 1,000 times every day, I think they could have done a slightly better job. You know who did do a slightly better job? The Mazda CX-5. And let's be honest, most of the time you're going to be driving any vehicle you bought for family use is just going to be you all by yourself, more likely than not taking 4,000 trips every single week to the supermarket. So how does it perform on that basis? Well, this is where I really love this car. It takes all of the best features of the RAV4 and it shrinks them down, making them more fun, more practical and just better. My next door neighbour has a RAV4 and it's never made me smile ever since he got it. It's not that it's bad, it's excellent for all the reasons that it's so popular. It's just a bit, you know, it's not going to put a smile on your face. This keeps all of the best features of the RAV4 and improves on all of them, including the drive. So the only reason to get a RAV4, and this is what I'm saying to you, is if you really convince yourself you absolutely have to have the space. Well, I've got 3 kids. I know that, and a dog, because I count them every day. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need the space. You can make it work. And this car is going to keep you smiling when they're not in it as much as it will when they are. So I hope you're going to enjoy this as much as I've enjoyed driving this, but please let us know. And by the way, if you want to make that comparison, check out the RAV4 review that we did.